So we have an example here where we're going to use the Pythagorean identity to find cosine. We were given that sine of theta is 0.866. We're also given this inequality, which may look confusing to some, but all it's telling you is which quadrant we're in. And we're going to use this information to find cosine of this angle. Now, you need to know the Pythagorean identity. It is cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. And since we're finding cosine theta, we need to solve the equation for cosine. So if you want to pause the video, I would encourage you to do that on your own. When we solve the Pythagorean identity for cosine, we would move sine squared over, and then when we take the square root of both sides, you need to remember this plus or minus. Now, your final answer for this problem is not going to be plus or minus. You have to choose one or the other. And the way that we do that is this inequality. The inequality is telling us where the angle is located on our xy plane. Now, I just drew my x and y axes. Try to picture your unit circle as if there was a unit circle on this that I just drew. Remember, your starting point is here at 0 radians or 0 degrees. It's telling us that the angle in this problem is between 0 and pi over 2. So remember, up top is pi over 2 or 90 degrees, which means the angle is somewhere between 0 and pi over 2. So really, this inequality is just a fancy way of telling us that the angle is in quadrant 1. That is what tells you whether we're going to use plus or minus for our final answer. Well, in quadrant 1, we know that x values are positive and y values are positive. Cosine, remember, is your x values. Sine, remember, is your y values. We were given a positive sine, which means that 0.866 is really just the y value at this angle. We are asked to find cosine, which is the x value, which we know to be positive in this quadrant. So we decided that cosine is positive. Now all we have to do is plug in the sine value that we were given, which is 0.866. And I know that it's weird that the exponent is between sine and the angle, but that's just the correct way of writing this. So all that means is we're squaring 0.866. Please remember your order of operations. Do not distribute that negative sign. You have to do 0.866 squared before subtracting it from the 1, and then take the square root, and we get 0.5 as cosine theta for this problem. So again, we're in quadrant 1. What we just found is for the angle in the question, the cosine or the x value is 0.5. The sine or the y value is 0.866. And they're both positive because we're in quadrant 1.